I am Reverend Dr. Henry Lee Bates, coming to you live from Palm Springs, California. I am teaching from the wisdom of the ancients, the truth given to us by the mastermind Jesus, and the practical mysticism of the science of mind and spirit. You can find out more about this ministry by going to www.revbates.com or by visiting the Way to a Wonderful Life channel on youtube.com. Just type in the YouTube search box Rev Bates, that is REVBATES, as one word, and you'll find over 500 of my radio messages with additional recordings in both English and Spanish that you can listen to 24/7. The goal of this ministry is to bring us into the realization that the power of life is within us. The power of life is within us. Now, the mastermind Jesus said the kingdom of God is within you, not low here or low there. And he knew that that kingdom was power, intelligence, and spirit. We have the spirit within us, we have intelligence within us, and we have the power to choose. Those are our powers. They're inherent within each and every one of us. So today our Way to a Wonderful Life message is titled, The Law of God is God. The Law of God is God. So I've got some quotes here from St. Augustine and Ernest Holmes. St. Augustine said, God loves each of us as if there were only one of us. God loves each of us as if there were only one of us. So when we think about it, we think about those words of the Mastermind Jesus when he said, if you want to understand your relationship to life, look at nature. Look at nature. So we look at nature, look at gravity. Gravity treats all of us in the same exact way. Whether we're rich or poor, whether we're good looking or ugly, whether we're fat or thin, whether we're of any race, creed, religion, whatever, gravity treats us all the same, as if there's only one of us. As if there's only one of us. And the American mystic Ernest Holmes tells us to believe in a just law of cause and effect, carrying with it a punishment or a reward, is to believe in righteousness. In righteousness. And what does righteousness mean? It means the law of God. The law of God is a just law, because it only gives us back what we give out. In other words, people use the term sowing and reaping and the law of attraction, but really it's the law of correspondence. It corresponds to us, just as the law of gravity corresponds to us. If I get up out of the chair, the law of gravity does not force me to sit in the chair. Now, does it let me fly up to the ceiling of my own volition? Of course not. But the law of gravity allows us choice, just like the law of God. The law of God allows us choice. So in the simplest terms, both karma and cause and effect can be phrased as what goes around comes around. What goes around comes around. The law of God is always present with us, just like the air that we breathe and gravity. Our relationship to this law, unlike our relationship with oxygen and gravity, is mental. It's mental, not physical. It is continually working not only through our words and our thoughts, but our feelings as well. Our feelings as well. In fact, I would suggest that our feelings are more important to cause and effect than anything else. We may say the nicest things to someone who we truly dislike, and our words may deceive the other person, but not the law of cause and effect, because it knows how we feel. It already knows the feeling behind those words. Now, I've been thinking about the law of attraction and wondering why it hasn't gained more interest in the world than it has. But then the apostles' cautionary words in the ancient scriptures, as you sow, so shall you reap, are contained in very few, if any, Christian sermons. Most of those who are familiar with the words have never delved into their profound meaning. So what we do know is that words describing cause and effect have been pronounced throughout the centuries and soon forgotten. In the 19th century, we started seeing the words, God is no respecter of persons. And this is certainly in line with St. Augustine's words. This is a hard truth for those who believe that their prayers to a God out there somewhere is listening to them, and to those that think that they have a personal relationship with Jesus. Prayers are mental disclosures. We just understand this. Prayers are mental disclosures that reveal to us what we truly believe, not what we say we believe, or what we think we should believe, but what we truly believe. If we're saying words, using words in our prayers that somehow make us look like we're, or feel like we're begging, or that we're helpless and hopeless, and that we're looking to something outside of us to save us, then we're truly not allowing that power within us, that power of intelligence, that power of spirit, to take control over our situation, that dominates those things. So if we're waiting for a God or gods to save us from our illnesses, our financial issues, our relationship issues, we shall have a long wait. God, Jesus, Buddha, Krishna, and others cannot think for us, and they definitely cannot feel for us. And it is only from taking dominion over our thoughts and feelings that we can change any situation we may be faced with. And one of the great teachers of this idea of taking dominion over our own mind was Dr. Norman Vincent Peale. Dr. Norman Vincent Peale was born to a working-class family in Ohio in 1898. He became one of the most influential clergymen in the United States in the 20th century. His weekly radio program was aired on NBC radio for 54 years. 54 years, imagine. The Power of Positive Thinking, which he authored, sold millions of copies worldwide. Millions of copies worldwide. Now here are some of Dr. Norman Vincent Peale's most famous quotes. He said, "Believe in yourself. Believe in yourself." Notice those three words. They're so important because it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if we're believing in a God or a Jesus or a Buddha or a Krishna. None of that matters if we don't believe in ourselves. It says, have faith in your ability. Without a humble but reasonable confidence in your own power, you cannot be successful or happy. So this confidence that he's talking about is a feeling. We feel confident or we don't feel confident. It's up to us to understand that that feeling nature of us is so very, very powerful. It says, change your thoughts and you change your world. Change your thoughts and you change your world. You know, so many of us, we think about things all day that absolutely do nothing for our life. So many times, I've talked to people and I've asked them, well, what have you been thinking about this issue that you're coming to me with? What have you been thinking about it? How have you been feeling about it? And they'll go on and they'll tell me all these things, most of which have absolutely nothing to do with taking power and dominion over the situation or the challenge that they're going through. It's like we waste so much of our time, our thoughts, our energy on things that do not move us forward in a successful, confident way. He writes, do not be awestruck by other people and try to copy them. Nobody can be you as efficiently as you can. Nobody can be you as efficiently as you can. When you think about it, so many times people are in awe of other people. And a lot of that has to do with comparison. Comparison to me, excuse me, if I were ever to use the word sin, because I said I believe sin is self-inflicted nonsense, S-I-N, self-inflicted nonsense. If I would ever use the word sin, I would say comparisons are our biggest sin. We must never compare ourselves to anyone, for no one can be us. Nobody can be us as efficiently as we can. And I totally agree with Dr. Field on that. We must take into our mind that we have the power. We can choose, and we can make those choices and feel the energy, feel the hope, feel the love of the thing that we want to find made manifest in our life experience, whether it's success in our work, whether it's success in our relationships, whether it's to realize greater prosperity or to move from an illness into health. We have the power. We have the power, but we must believe in ourselves. We must look to ourselves and not look to anyone else and compare ourselves to them. He tells us to formulate and stamp indelibly on your mind a mental picture of yourself as succeeding. Hold this picture tenaciously. Never permit it to fade. Your mind will seek to develop the picture. Do not build up obstacles in your imagination. Do not build up obstacles in your imagination. In other words, don't think of the great new idea. Don't think of how you're going to move through a certain illness or move through a certain situation and then start thinking about why you can't. Start thinking about the things that may obstruct you or get in the way or block you from realizing it. We must clear our mind. Clear our mind and let ourselves feel the confidence. Feel the believing in ourselves quality that requires us, that we're required to have to realize the greater good, the greater thing that we seek to experience. It's up to us. It's up to us. Believe in yourself. Have faith in your abilities. Dr. Field was telling us that way back when. Do not build up obstacles in your imagination. So many people, the imagination is powerful. So many people misuse their imagination. They see things happening that aren't even real yet. That's why people take that word fear. False evidence appearing real. Fear. So many people take fear thoughts. Worry is a fear thought. Doubt is a fear thought. They may not be the defined fear that we think about, but they are part of fear. Dr. Field tells us people become really quite remarkable when they start thinking that they can do things. When they believe in themselves, they have the first secret of success. People become really quite remarkable when they start thinking that they can do things. Not someone else doing it for them. Not a Buddha or a Krishna or a Jesus or God out there doing it for them. But they can do things. Start thinking they can do things. When they believe in themselves, they have the first secret of success. And that's the truth for all of us. And he tells us empty pockets never held anyone back. Only empty heads and empty hearts can do that. In other words, he's telling us don't worry about the money. Focus on the idea. Focus on what it is that you want to do, to be, or to have. Start seeing it in your mind's eye. Start seeing yourself having it. Start seeing yourself doing it. Start seeing yourself being it. And let this immutable law of God, this law of correspondence, start working for you, corresponding to those thoughts, those visions, those imagining, those feelings of having, doing, and being, and bring them to pass. One of my favorite Dr. Norman Vincent Peale quotes is, anybody can do just about anything with himself that he really wants to and makes up his mind to do. We are all capable of greater things than we realize. We are all capable of greater things than we realize. And that's the truth. That's the truth for each and every one of us. We may find ourselves in conditions of illness, conditions of poverty, conditions of broken relationships, unemployment. And then do we think, are we responsible? What difference does it make if we are or we aren't? Claiming responsibility for our discord, for the things that are not going well for us, is not the thing that will help us. Learning how to take responsibility will. Our response to our conditions, to our illnesses, to our poverty, whatever we may be facing, is the thing that will move us through it and out of it. Our response determines our result. And that response, of course, has to do with our feeling nature. What are our feelings about it? Can we put one foot in front of the other and move forward without feeling that we failed, without feeling a sense of failure, without feeling a sense of great disappointment, whatever is going through our mind that has a negative connotation to it? Can we let that feeling go and move forward knowing that within us is a power to do the greater thing? Within us is that something greater? If we just start focusing on that instead of what has happened, our response, our feelings about it, will determine our result. And our ability to respond is powerful. Our responsibility is within our own mind, our own heart, our own soul. And in our mind is where we connect with the power that is inherent within us. We all have it. We all have it. And as we do, our affirmative response reflects this power of choice working through our mind. And within our mind is our solution. Within our mind is our guidance. And in our mind is our hope. We just need to get to that place in our mind where those things exist already. And we do that by thinking about the things that we've been hearing today. God loves each of us as if there were only one of us. That's St. Augustine. And from Ernest Holmes, to believe in a just law of cause and effect, carrying with it a punishment or reward, is to believe in righteousness. In righteousness. Think about the law of cause and effect. So many people think, oh, we're going through this life paying for the sins of a previous life. That's one person's idea of karma, but there's many ideas about karma. There's many ideas about cause and effect. There's many ideas about as we sow, so shall we reap. We don't have to look to the world as if we're a gentle, loving, giving, generous soul. We have to look within our own selves and see this generous, loving, peaceful, generous soul. The face that we put on to the public many times is not the face that we feel within our own mind and heart and soul. We must be willing to take dominion over our own mind and believe in ourselves, have faith in our abilities. Dr. Peel tells us, without a humble but reasonable confidence in your own powers, you cannot be successful or happy. Change your thoughts and you change your world. But as you change your thoughts, change your feelings with them. Don't focus on yesterday. It's already done. Renew your mind today. I love that phrase in the scripture, the ancient scriptures. Renew a right spirit within me. You can say, I renew a right spirit within me. And let go of the feelings of the past. Let go of the feelings of things that happened an hour ago. And focus on moving forward with confidence. Moving forward, believing in yourself. Moving forward, knowing and understanding and accepting that you have the power. You have the intelligence. You have the guidance within you as we open our mind up to it. It's our bringing into our divine imagination, our powerful imagination, I should say, images of ourselves being and having and doing that which we choose to do, to have and to be. Dr. Peel tells us, formulate and stamp indelibly on your mind, a mental picture of yourself as succeeding, whether that's succeeding in healing a relationship, succeeding in healing your body, succeeding in healing a financial issue that needs corrected, whatever it may be. Hold this picture tenaciously, he tells us. Never permit it to fade. In other words, bring it up to your conscious mind over and over throughout your day, depending on how urgent the situation may be. You may have to do it many times. Never permit it to fade, he tells us. Your mind will seek to develop the picture. Your mind, your consciousness, your power, your intelligence will seek to develop the picture. Do not build up obstacles in your imagination. Do not. We must learn to be responsible. Responsible. We must learn how to respond to the things that come into our mind. We must learn how to respond to the things that we're confronted with without allowing our feelings to hold us back. We're free. We have the freedom of choice. We have the freedom to choose. Do I choose to remember yesterday over and run that picture of failure or illness or whatever over and over in my mind? The fear of being ill or the fear of financial collapse, whatever it may be. Do I want to run that over and over in my mind, or do I want to choose to see myself as I choose to live, to be, to have the things that make me feel good about life, that make me think that life is a joy, that I'm loving life right where I am, doing the things that I am, feeling the joy that's going through my mind. We're free to do it. You know, Janis Joplin had those words from her song, freedom's just another word for nothing left to lose. And for some of us, this is the point in mind that we find our freedom, for we realize that we must turn within. We must use our mind, connect with our own power, and take the responsibility to find our freedom from discord, from oppression, from illness, from poverty, whatever it may be, but most of all from futility and despair. We are free, not because some form of government has awarded us freedom. We are free because we can use our mind And the freedom that we find in our mind is our inherent freedom of choice. So we can choose, and we can choose wisely, and we can allow ourselves to believe in ourselves. We can tell ourselves, I believe in me, 1,000 times a day if we have to start believing in ourselves. I believe in my own inherent power to move through whatever I need to move through to realize a greater joy in life. I don't look outside of me to anyone, not to Krishna, not to Buddha, not to Jesus, not to God, but the law of God. The law of God, which is God, will fulfill itself through me, as me, and for me, as long as I understand that it's within me and that I have this power, I have this spirit, I have this intelligence. And as I realize that, then I do begin to believe in myself in a greater way every day. Believe in yourself. Believe in yourself. Formulate and stamp indelibly on your mind a mental picture of yourself as succeeding. Hold this picture tenaciously in your mind. Never permit it to fade. Your mind will seek to develop the picture. Do not build up obstacles in your imagination. Remember, anybody can do just about anything with themselves that they really want to and make up their minds to do. We are all capable of greater things than we realize. We are all capable of greater things than we realize. And that's the truth. That's the truth for you and the truth for me and the truth for everyone. But we must bring it into our mind as our truth. We must bring it into our mind as something amazingly wonderful. We must feel the joy of having this power, the joy of having this intelligence, the joy of having a spirit that never gives up, that never looks outside of us for anything, that always looks within us for the right idea, the right response, the right guidance, the right knowing that what we are to do, what we are to be, what we are to have will not only bring a greater joy to our life, a greater prosperity to our life, a greater peace to our life, but a greater joy, a greater prosperity, and a greater peace to all those around us, to all those that we come into contact with, because we carry that consciousness with us. And anyone that we come into contact with will understand that, will know that, will believe that. That believing in yourself, believing in yourself is the most amazing, the most powerful thing that we can do for ourselves and for others. So I want to thank you for being with me today. It's been my great pleasure to have you. Remember, The Way to a Wonderful Life aired right here on WIMB, World International Broadcasters, 7 a.m. Sunday mornings. It's a recording of previous messages. It's always wonderful to wake up Sunday morning, 7 a.m. Pacific Time, 9 a.m. Central Time, 10 a.m. Eastern Time, and listen to those words that move us to do, to be, to have, that something that will make us feel this greater joy for life. Have a wonderful week. God bless you.